From the Berkshires to the Sound, from wherever you live in MLB America, this is Inside the Parker. You give us 22 minutes and we'll give you the scoop on Major League Baseball. Now, here's Baseball Hall of Fame voter number 57.
You have another hot take.
Will not NOT make the playoffs.
Shohei me the money.
Rob Parker.
Come on! I've been covering Major League Baseball for almost 40 years now. In New York, in Cincinnati, in Detroit, in LA. I love this game. Let's go! Welcome into the podcast, and I'm your host, Rob Parker. And what a show we have for you today. Before we even get started, remember, press this button, the subscribe button, so that you're always here, always up to date with all the best coverage of Major League Baseball. As you know, I've been covering baseball since 1986. I love the sport. This is the place for your baseball fix. Inside the Parker, sponsored by Cuffin Season. Lock in the flavor your taste buds will love at cuffinseason.us. Get yours today. And for an extra 10% off, use the code MLB in all caps. Welcome into the podcast. I'm your host, Rob Parker, and what a show we have for you today. Coming up, we're going to dive into the Chicago Cubs, who have made the postseason, with Cole Wright. He's a host pre and post game for the Cubs on the Marquee Sports Network. We'll do that. Plus, we'll have a pushback and much more. Let's go.
To lead off, it's Getting Robbed.
And keep them up.
Rob's hot take on the three biggest stories in Major League Baseball. Number one.
Coming into Thursday, Aaron Judge is batting .329 and leads the American League in hitting with about 9 or 10 games to go in the baseball season. He has a real shot to win the AL batting title, which will be his first in his career. He had 3 hits on Wednesday night in the finale against the Minnesota Twins. So Aaron Judge has not faded at the stretch. He's actually playing really well. And I think a batting title will add to his resume and add to how impressive he is as a hitter. We know he's a slugger, and we know the average batting average in the major leagues is .242, and yet this guy is nearing in on another 50 home run season, and he can now win a batting title. It looks like he's going to win a batting title. So I think that separates him from his peers. Guys are either sluggers or they're hitters for average. Very seldom you see a guy hit this many home runs and still able to hit such a high batting average. Go look at Kyle Schwarber with the Phillies. He's a home run hitter and batting 220, 30, 40, in that range. He's not batting .329 with 10 games, 9 games to go. It's impressive by Aaron Judge. It tells you about how good he is and where he ranks in baseball.
Number two.
Movie icon Robert Redford died this past week at 89 years old. What a life. What a movie maker, director, activist, and all that. But we talk about in sports all the time how hard it is to make sports movies and for actors to look natural like they are, athletes. And Robert Redford did that in baseball movies. And a lot of people look at him and think of The Natural. He played Roy Hobbs, and just his swing in that and how dramatic that movie was. It's one of my favorite movies. Some people think it's their favorite baseball movie. For a comedy major league, that was very funny. Field of Dreams. I don't know how you could be a baseball fan and not love Field of Dreams and what that stood for. And then when baseball had the Field of Dreams game in Iowa and just what that looked like and the whole nature of it is another one. I love recently 42, the Jackie Robinson story told through Wendell Smith, the black baseball writer. I love that version of the Jackie Robinson movie, of course, called 42. And then a real sleeper was in the 70s. Robert De Niro starred in this movie. He was the catcher, a sick catcher who a star pitcher held up and made him his private catcher so that he could stay in the big league. This is a heartwarming story called Bang the Drum Slowly. If you're a baseball fan, try to find that movie and watch it. Bang the Drum Slowly. I think it was Moriarty and De Niro are the stars of that. And it resonated with me. I don't know. It's one of those, but Robert Redford, dead at 89, and people always remember him as Roy Hobbs in The Natural.
Number 3.
All right, I'm going to own it. I was the one who said that Juan Soto would struggle to start the season in his career with the Mets, and I was right. Didn't make the All-Star team. I gave him the nickname Juan So-So and all that. But now I have to own up to the season that he has put together. The one weird caveat is that the Mets are worse than they were a year ago, which makes no sense when you think about the numbers. So here's a milestone. I got to put my glasses on for this. He's going to have 40 home runs, 30 steals, 110 runs scored. Only 2 players have ever put up those numbers after changing teams in the first year. Shohei Ohtani, when he left the Angels to the Dodgers, and now Juan Soto from the Yankees to the Mets. It's weird. Both players we talk about are basically both players went to the same city, different teams. Here's the other stuff. He's on pace to finish with more runs scored than Tatis Jr., more RBIs than Ohtani, more hits than Raleigh, more walks than Judge, more home runs than Pete Alonso, more steals than Carroll. Just an unbelievable amount of numbers that he was able to put together when you think about this guy didn't make the All-Star team, that this guy got off to such a rough start despite the $765 million contract. But his numbers wound up being the numbers that people expect from him. And maybe that's why the Mets paid him $765 million, because he lived up to those numbers. Obviously, the Mets need to make the playoffs, and they're teetering on that. If they do, people can look past this season and move forward with Juan Soto.
In case you missed Rob Parker on the MLB Network, here's his latest appearance on MLB Now.
The showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
All right, time now for the showdown with Rob Parker. Rob, good to see you. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
Good, doing great. Glad to have you here today. All right, so let's talk Padres, Dodgers, NL West. 2-game advantage right now for the Dodgers in that division. And it looks like it's probably going to finish this way. We'll see if it does or not. But if it does, and even if it doesn't, can the Padres beat the Dodgers in postseason baseball?
Well, I know that they're still kicking themselves from last year. They should have beat the Dodgers last year, and they let that one get away. I still like the Padres. I picked them before the season. And there's a couple things, Steve. Obviously, they have a tremendous bullpen. They made some great pickups at the trade deadline. We know about the lineup. They just have to go and get it done. Here's what I don't like about the Dodgers is that they started the season 8-0. They spent like $20 billion in the offseason. They were supposed to run through everybody, and it just hasn't been that kind of season. And I know they play better of late, but I still think they can be had and be beaten. So I think the Padres have a shot at this.
So here's the way I look at it. I don't think the Dodgers are invincible, but they've had so many injuries to explain where they are in the standings. Yet they've had so many injuries, they're still going to win the division. I don't think the Padres can beat the Dodgers. I think there's the thing. They've got the thing. Take a look. Go back to 2020. The Padres are 32-55 against the Dodgers. And even when they had them on the brink last year in the playoffs, they couldn't finish them off. I think that the Padres' road to the World Series cannot be through the Dodgers. My Mets teams couldn't beat the Braves back in the day. We went to the World Series in 2000 because somebody else took the Braves out. The way that the playoffs are set up right now, they'd be in different brackets. The Dodgers would play probably the Mets if it started right now. The winner of that would play the Phillies. What the Padres need is for the Mets or the Phillies to take the Dodgers out of it, and then they can go on and advance. But I don't think that they can beat the Dodgers head-to-head. They need somebody else to take them out.
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think the Dodgers are invincible. I think you're living in last year and you're looking at the roster. Living in Los Angeles and watching them on a nightly basis, I'm just not that impressed. Despite the injuries, even when they've had people together, it just doesn't feel the same as a year ago. And they got awful lucky to win a World Series without starting pitching, because that's what they got. Had the Yankees won Game 5, the Dodgers wouldn't have won the World Series, and they got the big hit from Freddie Freeman in Game 1, which changed the whole series. I'm not buying the Dodgers this year under any circumstance. I'm out on the Dodgers.
Well, boy, the Dodgers starting pitching put on a show against the Philadelphia Phillies, including Blake Snell. Snell on the mound yesterday, take him out of the game, and Snell tells him, no, I can get this guy. And a man called Otto, and he gets him. He strikes him out.
Come on, this is a big game. He had walked 2 guys in a row. You're undermining the manager. If that blew up in Dave Roberts' face in the Dodgers because he was running out of gas, it worked out so you can pump your fist, Dave Roberts and the Dodgers, but only a 2-game lead. Your pitcher's tiring in the 7th inning. He threw a season-high 107 pitches in that game, and you're playing with fire. It worked out. But I didn't like it, and I think at some point that's why you're the manager. And we've seen him take out Shohei pitching a no-hitter because he's thrown too many pitches or whatever it is. Blake Snell just should not be able to demand or get his way in that situation when the whole team and its playoff lives are on the line. I just didn't like it.
2-time Cy Young Award winner who tells the manager, I can get this guy. And I believe that we teach people how to treat us. And I think that Blake Snell was always the guy that came out after facing the lineup twice. Kevin Cash took him out then. In San Diego, that was the way. But I think now he's matured to the point, and he's proven to Dave Roberts he can get that big out when he needs it. I thought this was great. I never want a guy who wants to come out of the game. I want him to fight the manager taking him out. He did it respectfully.
Yeah, but that would be everybody, Steve. You can't have that. Everybody... You would do that, a guy, everybody wants to stay in. Oh, no, don't pinch hit for me. I can get a hit here. That's why you have a manager. That's why you have a guy
absolutely
to make those decisions sometimes for the players.
Yeah, so you think that if it blew up, it would have been Snell's fault. I think that's on Dave Roberts to make the call. It's why he gets paid the big bucks. If the pitcher says, I can get him, it's up to him at that point to make a decision. Vesia was on his way onto the field into the game, and Dave Roberts said, you know what? I'm going to give him this one. And that can make a difference down the stretch. And for Snell not to be a 2-time through the lineup guy, I think is huge, considering how poor the bullpen had pitched for the Dodgers in the first 2 games against the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, but if you're going to win a World Series, Steve, if you're going to win a World Series, that bullpen has to come through. So if you want to avoid the bullpen at all costs, and that's the message you're sending to the bullpen, that a guy can walk 2 or 3 guys or lose his control, and you're still not going to the bullpen, how is that going to help you come postseason time? It's not.
If they don't like it, pitch better. All right, how about this? The Tigers in danger of collapsing. Is that true? 4.5 game lead in the AL Central. The Guardians playing great baseball right now. They have 4 games remaining with the Guardians. Are the Tigers in jeopardy? They've been in first place, it feels like, all season long.
Yeah, they could wind up being the 1964 Phillies, which lost 10 of their last 12 games and gave up the division. And the Tigers, as you know, have been very streaky this year. They had an awful stretch in July where they lost 12 out of 13, and they've lost 9 out of 14 to start the month of September. They're in trouble. Look at their schedule. They play the Braves 3 games at home, but then they go on the road for 3 against Cleveland. This is after today's game against Cleveland. They go on the road for 3 against Cleveland and another 3 against Boston. Could I see them losing their final 6 games and losing the division? Absolutely. Because other than Skubal, and if Cleveland beats Skubal today, they're really going to be in trouble. That's a game they need. And I think that if they lose that game, there's a good chance they could choke down the division.
My goodness, that dark cloud. I'm from Detroit, Rob. You've been there. You put this dark cloud over my family there right now. I'm not that worried about them at all. I think that they're going to rally through. They've been a very resilient team, and A.J. Hinch, one of the best managers in the game. They'll find their way through. They'll still end up winning the division overall. All right, the Yankees bullpen in October. Is that really going to be something that is a strength or a weakness? Could it cost them, or will it be the reason that they win?
I just think that if you look at the arms there and just look at Devin Williams, his last 5 outings, he looks like the stuff. He has the stuff he had in Milwaukee. Rookie of the year, one of the best closers. Look at the movement on the pitches, and then the other guys they brought in, the other
Miller,
pitchers
Duvall,
they brought
yep.
in. Yeah, like they brought in during the trade deadline. The Yankees got high marks on those pitchers. Now they haven't performed up to their abilities, and even Luke Weaver has struggled. But if you look at what these guys have done and what they're capable of, and if they get righted, like Devin Williams to me has gotten righted, they will be tough in the postseason if these 4 guys can pitch like they're expected to pitch. Now, if it's the same mishmash that we've seen, obviously it's not going to work. And you know this, in the postseason, it's about the bullpen. The reason the Yankees won all those World Series, they had Mariano Rivera, who was the best of the best, and that's what you need in the postseason to win.
I have more confidence in the Dodgers bullpen right now than the Yankee bullpen to get things turned around. Rob, thanks so much. Always great debating with you. Have a great afternoon.
All right, Steve, always.
When Rob was a newspaper columnist, he lived by this motto: if I'm writing, I'm ripping. Let's bring in a writer or broadcaster, old or new.
Now let's welcome in Cole Wright. He is the host, pre and post, for the Chicago Cubs for the Marquee Sports Network. Friend of mine, one of the best in the business. We work together at FS1, at ESPN. We could go on and on and on. And the thing we both love more than anything other than family and wives and all that kind of stuff is baseball. What's up, Cole? How are you?
Rob, how you doing, man? Glad to be on the show today, man. How you doing?
Doing great. Always a pleasure, my man. And, I had to get into you and talk to you to get a deep dive on the Cubs and where they are. They clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2020. Was this expected or not?
I mean, I think it was expected. I think the one thing that the team set out at the very beginning of the season, they said, we want to be a 90-win team, and then everything else kind of falls into place. And I think, when you look at the track record of 90-win teams over the last, 5, 7, 10 seasons, that they have had a postseason trajectory. So I think that when Craig and Carter, when they constructed this, or Jed and Carter and Craig, when they constructed this team, they really thought that they wanted to have a 90-win team with postseason aspirations. They went out, they got Kyle Tucker, they made sure that they had all these pieces of the puzzle in place. And right now, I mean, if they don't win 90 games, and that's their own fault. I mean, they're over 20 games above the 500 mark. They clinched that postseason berth, like you said. So right now, not necessarily smooth sailing with the playoff in hand. There's still work to be done. It's like I tweeted out the Kobe Bryant gift the other day. Job's not finished. And that's exactly what Craig said after they clinched yesterday during the celebration.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought right away, no doubt about it. I mean, it's nice to get in. When you get in, you have a chance, but there's other work to be done for sure. I want to just talk about some of the players. Pete Crow Armstrong, who at the start of the season, he was in the MVP, conversation. He had put together such a strong start to the season. Coming into Thursday, batting .247. What's happened there with Pete?
I mean, he's young, and baseball's hard. I mean, he's still really good. I mean, was anyone going to take anything away from him on the defensive side of the ball? I don't think so. The amount of 5-star plays that he has, everyone else's pales in comparison to this dude. I mean, everything that he brings to the table every day, being able to watch him play defense in person. I mean, I never watched Willie Mays play, but I mean, I only saw Ken Griffey Jr. play in person later in his career. I never saw him as a Seattle Mariner. I saw him as a Cincinnati Red. So I think that being able to watch Pete Crow Armstrong, you do get to watch one of those elite style defensive players. However, his bat, what he was able to do at the beginning of the year, it's tough. Like I said, baseball's hard. These guys are starting to figure him out. And the one thing I've seen lately, he's had some really good takes, and takes are a good indicator of how a guy is going about his plate appearances. And Pete, he's had some more productive plate appearances as of late. And if he gets going during the postseason and these last 10 games, then I say watch out for everybody. Don't let him get hot in Cincinnati over these next 4, because the ball is going to jump in Cincinnati. It's still warm there right now. It's a small ballpark. And Pete, I mean, he's one home run away from being just the second Chicago Cub to join the 30-30 club. Sammy did it twice, and no one has ever had 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, and 30 doubles as a Chicago Cub. So Pete He's doing all right. I think he just needs to corral some of that youthful energy, and he'll be just fine, man.
Those are good numbers. Did not know that. Let's talk about Kyle Tucker. Came over in the trade, big from Chicago. There was talk after his start that he's going to sign a $400 million plus contract. And then the rains came, or what they call a slump in baseball, and so bad that he was benched at one point during the season in August. What do you make of Kyle Tucker and what he went through and him rebounding from that?
Well, I think there was clearly an injury going on in his hand that was aggravated by a slide earlier in the campaign. And I think the one thing that just speaks to him is he's a gamer. He's going to go out there. He's going to play, sometimes maybe to a detriment. But I think that's the one thing that you'll get from all gamers. They'll think to themselves, okay, 60% of me is better than 100% of my backup. So I think that's the mindset that Kyle was under. And he was going out there every day trying to just play through it and go get after it. And it wasn't necessarily a benching. It was more so of okay, let's take this time. Let's reflect. Let's get you feeling a little bit better. And then once you are better, we'll get you back in the mix. And now him dealing with the calf, that's tough because there are only 10 games left in the season. He still is on the shelf, and he is going down to Tampa right now to get some extra work in. So I just feel like the best thing for everybody would be to have a full health for Kyle Tucker for the postseason, because you've seen him play before. I mean, he's a champion, and when he's going good, there's not a whole bunch of guys in the league who are that much better than him. I mean, pitching to him, if you're on that mound and you see Kyle Tucker dig in, a healthy Kyle Tucker, you know that you're going to have your hands full, and that's what the Cubs and that's what every Cubs fan is hoping for, to have a full bill of health for Kyle Tucker in the postseason.
Cole, tell me about Matt Boyd. He leads the Cubs in wins coming into Thursday with 13. But just tell me about that starting staff. Third best ERA in the National League. So obviously it's not just a one-man band. Tell me about how good this pitching is.
Well, the Cubs pitching staff has been unbelievable. And Matthew Boyd, last night, things didn't necessarily go exactly how we wanted them to go, but we talked about that. Cliff Lloyd and I were doing pre and post game, and in the first inning, Matthew Boyd was painting corners, pow, 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 and he wasn't getting calls. And I looked at Cliff and I said, "Oh boy," I said, "this is going to turn into runs, because then he has to go over the heart of the plate." And that's what we saw. I mean, we saw him give up a 3-run home run in the first inning, and just before the Cubs already built a 4-0 lead, boom, it's a 1-run game. It's 4-3. And then it was tied. And I just think it's Matthew Boyd has had just a few bumps along the way right here, but he's been so steady all season long. And he's one, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to talk with Matthew Boyd or meet Matthew Boyd in person, but he's one of the nicest dudes, and it's not an act. There's no falsehoods about him. Everything this dude says is true. Like, he told us a story one time where he said, I was going to my kids' little league games, and people were asking, "Hey, what do you do?" And this is when he was in limbo, didn't know where he was going to go before he came to the Cubs. And they said, "Well, you're a baseball player. What team are you on?" And he said, "Well," and he had to tell him, he was a free agent and he was looking to pick up with a new squad. So that's one of the reasons why he always has so much gratitude. Like, he walks around every ballpark before every start. He kind of looks around and he soaks it in, and he realizes that I don't have to be here right now. They wanted me to be here. I'm here to go out and pitch well, and that's what I need to do. And that's what he does, man. I think that the win, lose, or draw, he's going to let you know if he pitched well. If he didn't, he's always going to let you also know what needs to be worked on. And I think that's the kind of guy that you want to have that's leading your staff. And he's not just the only one. Like you said, this staff is dirty. Colin Ray, he's a guy who I don't think a lot of people expected to be a whole bunch this season, but the Cubs are 16-9 when he starts. Brad Keller signed to a minor league deal. He's a former starter. This dude's coming out here blowing doors now, 98, 99. Daniel Palencia is hurt. So who do we have in the closer role? It's Brad Keller. Brad Keller can also come in, and he can chew up the 8th inning. He can chew up the 9th inning. So those are good things about the staff right now. I mean, there's so many guys. Cade Horton. I mean, if Cade Horton hasn't already locked up the National League Rookie of the Year, I don't know who has. They're talking about Drake Baldwin. That makes me think of the Breakfast Club meme with Soldier Boy. Drake! Like that, I mean, it's not even close. The things that Cade Horton does when he goes out there, I mean, he's on a pitch count. He knows he's about to carve you up. And I think you know you're about to get carved up when he's out there. And that's what happens. And I mean, just look at him after the All-Star break. He's Paul Skeens. He's 2015, 2016 Jake Arrieta. He's that good right now. That sub-1 ERA. And I keep saying I would throw him game one of the postseason. We got into, a little bit of a debate yesterday. Bruce Levine, myself, Cliff, Elise Menaker, we were on the show. And Bruce said that he would go Matthew Boyd. I'm like, I love Matthew Boyd. He's been a rock solid presence so far this year. But right now, when you need a win, who you going with? You're going with your stopper. You're going with Cade Horton. He's been that dude. And the lefty-lefty matchups, I'm not really worried about Shota Imanaga or Matthew Boyd going in back-to-back games because real gamers don't care who's on the mound. They want to go out there and hit. We had Derek Lee on the other day because it was Derek Lee and Sammy Sosa day for the Chicago Cubs, them going into the Hall of Fame. We had D. Leon doing an interview before. I said, D. Lee, lefty, righty, what matchup did you prefer? He said, I don't care, man. Bring them all on. That's how real hitters think. So Cade Horton, he's a former position player at Oklahoma. He thinks like a real hitter. He thinks like a real pitcher. He thinks like a gamer. He is ready to shove every single time he's out there. And that's what we've seen. And sometimes we've seen some great starting performances squandered. So the Cubs bats slowly but surely starting to come around because you saw what they were able to do offensively. I mean, they were an absolute juggernaut beginning of the season, just notched their 14th shutout win of the year. There's a lot of teams who are really good who don't even have 10. So that's the thing. The Cubs pitching, they'll hold you down. They'll take you in the deep end, and they'll hold you under the water, man. They won't let you up.
Our guest is Cole Wright from Marquee Sports Network in Chicago. He does the pre and post game for the Chicago Cubs. And a couple more things, Kyle, and I'll let you go, definitely. Craig Counsell, of course, came over from the Brewers last year, second year as Cubs manager. Just changes from 20. I know the Cubs went 83 and 79 his first year, but changes. Have you seen anything changes, or it's just different with the players, or what's happened here to take this team to the next level?
I think it's just a calm demeanor. That's how Craig is, man. He never gets too high, never gets too low. He's like those loci bracelets. You ever seen those ones with all the little bubbles in them? Like they have mud from the Dead Sea and they have water from Mount Everest. So it just reminds you not to get too high, not to get too low. Just kind of stay even keel. That's the kind of dude that Craig is. And I think a lot of his players, they attach themselves to that mindset. Dansby Swanson, he's just cool, man. That's just what he is. He's going to make plays. He's going to get some knocks. I mean, and when you look at it, are there situations where you'd be like, wow, you look for a bigger hit sometimes. But when you look at Dansby's stats, it could begin the year he struggled with runners in scoring position. However, when you have a shortstop who plays Gold Glove caliber, I mean, that's what he is. He's a Gold Glover who's going to bat 250 because that's right around what all shortstops hit right now. It's not like you have shortstops that are burning up the charts hitting 325. It doesn't happen. He's going to hit 250. He's going to hit you right around 25 home runs, and he's going to drive in about 85 stakes. So I mean, think about that. That's pretty good in the grand scheme of things, along with playing Gold Glove defense. So I think that Dansby Swanson, he is also taking on that kind of personality like Craig has, and I think that there's a lot of guys that are just even keel, like just an easy demeanor. Justin Turner, he's one of the sources of inspiration for this team. I mean, he's been there before, but he's also not a player coach because Cliff says it all the time. Like guys don't want to be called a player coach, but that's kind of what he is. He came in yesterday, had 2 huge hits that drove in runs, which was really big. So I think for him to be able to chip in and still remain relevant with this squad and be able to impart wisdom on some of these young guys, man, I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think it all starts with Craig.
All right, last thing. Where do you see the Cubs? Can they get to the World Series, or are they just almost there, or do they have enough to go through the Dodgers and the Padres or whatever team they have to, the Phillies, the Mets, in order to make this happen?
Well, they've got 3 with the Mets after these next 4 with the Reds. So we're going to see, because the Reds are a hungry team right now. They're right on the outside looking in. And the Mets right now, they're kind of spiraling. We've seen what's going on with them. They're pitching, not really there. I think that anyone has a chance in this postseason tournament this year. I mean, there's not really one world beater squad. The Cubs have had a winning record this year.
I agree with that. I agree. There are all the teams are flawed. I don't think anybody knows who's going to be in the World Series for sure. I don't.
And that's the best part of it. I mean, it is a crapshoot right now. And like I said, the Cubs, They won the season series against the Dodgers. You know, they're taking on the Mets these next 3 after Cincinnati, a 4-pack in Cincy. So I think these next 10 will be a big indicator. Like we talked about it on our pregame show, Cliff and I. There's 13 games left to go. This was 3 games ago. And I said, what needs to be done is win as many of these games as possible and get as hot as you can. And every one of these series needs to be looked at as a playoff series. You got to win 3 against Pittsburgh. They won 3 against Pittsburgh. You need to win 3 of 4 versus Cincinnati. If you could do better than that, that'd be fantastic. Then you have 3 with the Mets and then 3 with the Cardinals. And if you don't think the Cardinals are going to come in and play spoiler, if they're not still in the mix with the last 3 games left, then shame on you, because you must not know about St. Louis Cardinal baseball. So I'm not talking you, Rob. You know St. Louis Cardinal baseball.
I already know. I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? But I just think that's going to be how these guys run through the tape here is going to be a big indicator. I mean, having 3 games at Wrigley, it's going to be huge. You know, if you're able to lock down and solidify that top spot in the wild card. San Diego, they're good. The Mets, they can play. There's always those landmines that you have to watch out for. Pete the Killer, Juan Soto. So it's all about matchups really in the postseason and who gets the hottest. Is it all the good teams make it, but who is the best of the good teams at that time and who's playing the best baseball? That's going to be the biggest picture right there.
No doubt about it. His name is Cole Wright from Marquee Sports Network in Chicago. Does the pre and post for the Chicago Cubs, one of the best baseball guys out there. Man, I appreciate you, my man. I'll see you soon. Thanks,
Cole. Anytime, Rob. When you come to Wrigley, man, let me know.
You know it.
Now, here's the best from MLBBro.com.
Charlie Duncan is dealing straight facts on MLBBro.com.
Hunter Green has been electric for the Reds in 2025, posting a 6-4 record with a 3.01 ERA, 116 strikeouts, and a stingy .99 whip over 92.2 innings. His return from injury has been marked by better command, growing consistency, and some dominant outings that remind everyone what makes his fastball and secondary arsenal so special. Green hit a career milestone, notching his 600th strikeout in his last outing against the Athletics with a 100-mile-an-hour punch-out. This Thursday against the Cubs, he'll look to carry that momentum forward if he can lock in early and attack the zone. Green can take another step forward toward putting the Reds squarely in contention. If he can stay healthy, the future looks bright for the 26-year-old. He's the ace of the team. With his workload holding up and continued development, Green has the upside to be a frontline starter for the Cincinnati Reds for many years to come. This is Charlie Duncan, and those are straight facts on MLBBro.com.
For more, right now, go to MLBBro.com.
No! This is baloney!
It's the Parker Pushback.
Shut the up!
Here, Rob tackles the outlandish takes in Major League Baseball.
You idiot! Shut up!
I'm Rob Parker, and here's my pushback. All you Dodger fans and people who are rallying around manager Dave Roberts for letting Blake Snell and could have blown up in the Dodgers' face. I'm Rob Parker, and that's my pushback.
Make way for Weekend Wagers.
Yo, it's Sean Bo. Fire up those bed naps. Let's go. Oh boy, 2-0 last week. What a week. Brings the record up to 21 wins, 29 losses so far on the Weekend Wagers year. We got 2 weeks left, fam. Let's get it started right this week. Starting on Friday, let's go ahead and take the Mets minus 1.5 run line over the Nationals. The Metropolitans need it bad, and I got a feeling they'll get it against those lowly Natties. Then on Saturday, give me the Dodgers Giants over 8.5 total runs. Pitching has been an issue with the Dodgers, and those rivalry games always bring out the best in those bats. 2-0 with a bro.
Hi, I'm Rob Parker, the founder and editor of MLBBro.com, where we cover black and brown major leaguers. 75% of the content will be about the current black and brown stars in Major League Baseball. The other 25%, we'll take a look back at some of the great black players. On the site, there'll be a ton of great written stories and videos and features.
MLB Bro, because you need to know.
MLB fans, when it comes to Major League Baseball, no one covers it better than the Odd Couple.
Fact. I am the baseball king.
First, second, third, and home.
We're leading shows with baseball.
Game over.
They don't watch it.
They don't know the game.
All in one place. Right here on Fox Sports Radio.
I love baseball.
In the words of New York TV legend, the late Bill Jorgensen, thanking you for your time this time until next time. Rob Parker, out.
He can't get it. This could be an inside to Parker.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.